Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick and today guys we're going to be talking about XRP. We'll be reviewing the technical analysis on the 1 hour, 1 day, 1 week timeframes. We'll be taking a look at the data and the news of what's been going on with XRP most recently, and we'll be jumping into some exchange based stuff and data stuff as well as we kind of finish off this video. So as we get into it, if you do find it useful, informative, maybe even entertaining at times, why not go ahead and smash that like button? Really do appreciate that. And if you are new to the YouTube channel, why not go ahead and subscribe? If you're watching this on Twitter, do us a solid, hit the like button and give us a retweet. Really does help the channel out massively. Let's jump right down into the video and start talking about what's going on here with XRP. So what we'll do is we're going to come down into our hourly chart. This is XRP paired up with USDT. We're on the 1 hour time frame and BitGet is our data source. Now, we were looking for a move to the upside here, 64.251 to 64.653. And we were saying that if anything lower than 62.442, that's this swing low here, would basically break that structure. We saw that move to the downside. We did see that get broken, and unfortunately this means that this structured move to the upside here is not something that we need to kind of consider ourselves a possibility right at this particular moment in time. In fact, there are only really two possible scenarios that can kind of see us move back up into this range at the moment. One is we get a new structured move that takes us there. Alternatively, we are in an irregular flat correction. If I could just thinking about exactly what it would be called, it'd be an irregular flat. Now, irregular flats have some pretty specific requirements to them. So, for example, the B wave does in fact come down lower than the origin of the A wave, but does not exceed 127.5%, which in this case I've checked it does not. We can go ahead and just do the sense check for the case of this video. We can see here that it actually stayed above the 1.236, so we're okay for that. But it must end in a 5-wave pattern. And it must be an impulsive structure like this. And this particular pattern has to be between 1.275 and 1.618 to get us to that high point there. Okay, so it's still technically possible that we do this. I just think it's an unlikely scenario at the moment. So what does that mean? Well, it means that essentially we have actually completed our pattern. We've got a couple of different options. I'm going to just move it over into this area here with a stunted C wave here. So you can see this bigger move to the downside and then this one over here. I still think that we have to move down even deeper, but for now I think we have the possibility of actually just finishing this one off and then looking for a break upwards on our 1 hour time frame. So unfortunately we did lose the low, so we have a new swing low at the moment being down here at 62.302. Now, am I confident in XRP's price action? No. To be brutally honest, we can see there is a 3-wave structure here. We go ahead and just move this over to the bounce right here, but it hasn't come down to where you would expect a normal 3-wave pattern to go, meaning that we can still, of course, look for further downside more towards 61.828, all the way down to 61.474, right? So we can see that there's still the possibilities of coming down slightly deeper into this yellow box range, which is between 61.444 and 62.675. This is the area of interest to us for a bigger correction to the downside following from this bigger break here. So we can see that we're still in corrective structures. We can remove this one for now. Now, unfortunately, we are in a bearish territory most recently. This is because we are still being pushed down by our 50 EMA, right? We can see this here. So the 50 EMA is basically suppressing price. Traders are not willing to kind of go long on XRP until it kind of gets above this area. So every time it approaches here, you can just see traders kind of coming out of their positions. Ultimately, it isn't looking strong right now from this standpoint. Now, 200 EMA is obviously quite high as well. Currently sat there at 63.868, and with the 50 EMA sitting at 62.976. So essentially here, the 50 EMA, the short-term price action, is lower than the 200 EMA, the longer term price action. That in itself is bearish, and the price action is also below both of those. So right now it isn't giving us confidence to think that we have that long position coming. I do think there is something around the corner for it though, but it's just not happening right at this particular moment on the 1 hour time frame. Now, if we kind of zoom out of here just for a fraction, you can of course see that we are in a bullish structure according to Smart Money Concepts. This basically means that we did have this great break to the upside here to 66.5, which is good to see. However, this cooling off is not terribly too unusual. We can see this cooling off happening right down into this low range here. And we haven't broken our structure for our bullish move. This basically means that we can still see ourselves with a potential break up higher here at a later date, but we'll have to kind of keep an eye on that as to whether or not this bullish change of characterization we get to see another one over this side becoming bearish, right? We don't know. We haven't got a confirmation of this yet because you haven't got a BOS to confirm that we are in fact in a bullish structure moving further forward. We have a change of character. Okay, it's changed its characteristics, but it hasn't confirmed that we're in a bullish movement. So just kind of bear in mind, it has technically changed into a bullish structure, but it haven't got confirmation of that just yet. So that's your hourly chart, right? It's very volatile at the moment on XRP. I suspect that although our momentum is looking okay here, I suspect we've still got further moves to the downside to be had on XRP on these smaller timeframes. Let's go ahead and take this up into our daily time frame. Okay, so the daily time frame is looking for a move upwards. We're looking for the X wave. At the moment, we're targeting out 69.6 to 71.4. That hasn't changed at the moment. We're finding support on that 50 EMA on that daily time frame. I suspect that we are not going to hold this for terribly too much longer on the daily time frame, but we'll be able to see, later today as to whether or not we're closing here. As you can kind of see, we end up with this dojo candle, essentially the same close and open positioning. It's not basically getting us any kind of direction on the market. We are oversold. We are looking for a move upwards. We are targeting out 69 to 71 cents, but we might just have to respect some of those smaller time frames for now while we wait for them to finish off their patterns so that we can actually continue this move to the upside. I suspect we're going to be on the lower side of this, the lower side of the 69 cent range, rather than on the higher side at 71, just because of our structured move here that we can see this correction down. If we are to push on up, we're going to find ourselves with a lot of resistance up in this range. Ultimately, once complete, I suspect we do move down towards 53 to 58 cent, as we were talking about in previous videos. That hasn't changed. Our structure here remains very much true on these timeframes. We are looking for that correction down. We'll be looking at the 200 EMA as a support level when that time does come. So yeah, for now, that is actually looking pretty reasonable. Nothing unusual about this. Is a pretty healthy correction considering the fantastic move to the upside that we had. If I zoom out of this, you can kind of see that we did target out that 93.76. We hit 93.8. And all this now is a nice healthy correction after finishing this three-wave pattern to the upside. This is actually looking pretty good. We'll have to call into question, or we do have to pull into question whether or not we are going to just have a small relief rally here. And we keep this top and then come down deeper. That's going to be subject to a lot of scrutiny further down the line, but we aren't there yet. We will have to consider this pattern finishing and then looking at what happens afterwards. Do we get an impulsive break, or do we just see short-term corrections again, looking for further downside later? That's a little bit uncertain. We don't have a structure to kind of tell us that, at least here on the daily time frame. Taking this up into a weekly time frame, of course, we can acknowledge that we are looking at these low areas, right? Here we actually have it marked out at 52.2 to 58.5. Essentially, it just depends on where those closed positions are. But for the most part, this is the area of previous resistance that we're looking to turn into support. And I suspect this is where we're going to find a bounce, right? So we come down here, we bounce up. Potentially then we drop down to lower than 50 cent. That's the kind of the bearish situation. It really depends on whether or not this is a B wave movement to the upside. Taking a look at it on the weekly, it doesn't look like there's a lot of strength to the upside to be seen here. So it could be that actually, yeah, we have a small bounce and then we continue this move to the downside. Could be wrong. We'll know more, obviously, in the coming weeks and months, so we'll keep a close eye on it. It doesn't distract us from the bigger picture, though. If we zoom out of this even further here, you can, of course, acknowledge that we have our target range quite high for XRP, sitting at the 557 to 1125. Obviously, this is counter to what a lot of people are kind of speculating around XRP, all the money, $589, $1,000, $1,500, $10,000, $500,000 for XRP. I mean, you can call it whatever you want. You can pick up any number you want. It could go to $1 million, right? Technically, it's possible that it could. It's very unlikely, most probably not going to happen. But for the most part, you can pick these numbers out. For the most part, our structures within our charts, so our price action is telling us that we have a probability between 557 and 1121. So it is what it is, and we keep grounded and realistic about the price appreciation of XRP. It's not going to be amazing, but it's going to be price appreciation nonetheless. And of course, depending on what happens with the SEC, the lawsuit, and all that kind of stuff, we might see a little bit further of a break to the upside. The impulsive trigger point sits up there at $34.81, so we'd have to see a pretty significant break upwards towards that area if we wanted to see an impulsion of some kind. But for now, we sit where we are with this one. It'd be interesting to kind of see how it plays out. Current rejections are on the 382 fib levels, and yeah, we're looking for a nice correction down at the moment towards 53 cent, in my opinion. Let's go ahead and take this up into the world of data, and let's see if we can get that loaded. There we go. On our membership website, membership.cheekycrypto.io, there's a whole host of different benefits that you can kind of take advantage of, right? There's a 7-day free trial across all the plans. You can obviously completely free, risk-free. You can go ahead, sign up with a 7-day free trial. And if you don't like it, you can cancel, right? That 7-day period, you cancel it and you don't have to kind of, renew your membership. So if you do not cancel it, it will automatically renew. So just bear that in mind. We don't want to kind of, just have bad publicity or anything like that, just around people like not intentionally renewing and it accidentally renews on them, they forget or whatever. Just make sure that if you don't want to continue it, you cancel it. It's within your profile area, you can cancel it. Just kind of bear that in mind. We're not here to kind of scam people out of their money. Like ultimately we have these things, we're offering them to you guys. There's various different levels to this. You can take a look at the website linked in the description below, and if you like it, then fantastic, stick around. We would love to have you as a part of the community and the members in the Discord, all that kind of stuff. If it's not for you, it's not for you. Fantastic, no problem. Just make sure you cancel it. On the website, we have obviously exclusive video content. We have course material, Elliott Wave Theory, portfolio builders, risk management courses, smart money concepts. We have all the articles, all the things that we do from project reviews, airdrops, latest news. We have data, which we'll talk about this, XRP data, Cardano, Ethereum, Bitcoin, events, coaching, and so forth, right? So in the case of this video, we're going to jump on over into the XRP data. So we're going to load that up on the screen here. So we have the overview for XRP on chain. So we know the all-time high. We know how many days it's been since the all-time high, the percentage that we're currently down from the all-time high, the average gas fees that are paid, the average transaction value in USD, all the way through to the amount of transactions in the last 24 hours. And I'm going to talk about that in a moment. 1 million transactions in the last 24 hours. And the total amount of fees paid for 1 million transactions on XRP is $1,374 or 2,175 XRP. Pretty astonishing, right? There are 4.7 million accounts that hold XRP, right, according to this. And there are 194,000 active addresses, which is also very, very interesting stuff. Now, moving over to liquidations, there has not been much in the way of liquidations for XRP in the last 24 hours. This is something that updates quite frequently, but here we can see $243,000 of liquidations. Binance was $124,000 of that, of which 87.35% were long positions and 12.65% were short positions. Binance was 51.31% of all liquidations. OKX was 39.93. Bybit was 6.43. And after that, there's very insignificant. All right, so ultimately, not too many leverage positions opened or liquidated when it comes to XRP, which I find quite interesting. Moving over into the wallet side, right here, we can see the number of wallets that have specific amounts of XRP in their wallet. So we obviously have the 1 million XRP or more. There are 2,126 wallets that have over 1 million XRP. And we can see that there's growth across all of our different timestamps here. So for example, 365 days, it's up 13.15. 180 days, it's up 3.35, and 90 days, it's up 0.66, and 30 days, it's up 1.67, and in the last 7 days, it's up 0.24, right? So we can see that there's growth at this real, true cumulative level, right? This is a big whale in the space, right? Have 1 million XRP or more, and there's growth across these wallets, which is great to see. 100,000 XRP or more, there's 33,202 wallets currently, of which we can see there's a little bit of volatility in the last 30 days, but for the most part, we still see growth in the last 365 days, 21% up on the wallets that have over 100,000 XRP. This shows us that there's true accumulation occurring at that really wealthy level, which is good to see. It means that a lot of people are backing XRP and, they're really confident in Ripple and versus SEC. That's a long-term play here. That's kind of how I look at it. 10,000 XRP or more, up 31%, right? So ultimately, as we can kind of see, some great accumulation happening across these various different levels. Now, as I mentioned earlier, right, we had that overview, 1 million transactions per second. 1 million transactions in the last 24 hours, right? We can see that there. And well, Here we can see the XRP ledger surpasses Ethereum in daily transactions, hits 1.2 million transactions per day. Actually, a little bit less in the last 24 hours, but it's been an incredibly slow weekend, right? But we can see that actually XRP is getting some serious traction. Since the beginning of August 2023, XRP ledger has recorded 1.2 million transactions per day. At the same time, the number of active addresses on the XRP ledger has also surged close to 200,000, which if we come back to our data here, you can see active addresses in the last 24 hours is 194,994, which basically means that this article is not actually that far wrong. They've probably rounded up in places to try to make it a nice kind of 200,000 number, but also just want to bear in mind the last 24 hours has been incredibly slow as well. So, during the week, we're going to see these numbers also surging and increasing quite a bit. So obviously, it's quite nice to see that XRP is performing incredibly well from a transactional point of view. This is something that I think is going to continue, and it's no surprise that it's beaten Ethereum either. Ultimately, I think Ethereum is, although first market, has some really good stuff going on. It's not realistic for most businesses to be operating on Ethereum, whereas in comparison, we can quite easily see that the stats on XRP are quite astonishing. As I said, right, coming back to our on-chain data here, 1 million transactions cost $1,374, right? Now, if I bring up the Ethereum report, just for the sake of argument and showing you here, as you can see, 972,000 transactions in the last 24 hours, and it costs $3.6 million to do just under 1 million transactions. Quite astonishing, right? So you can see the power of XRP. You can see that it's designed for purpose in comparison to that is not designed for purpose, right? We have a significant surge of transactions on XRP here. We can see that there's a really good amount. You can actually see that I've actually just updated this. I didn't update it until just now. As you can see, it's 1.2 million transactions in the last 24 hours at $1,660. So it's great to be able to see this, and it's great to be able to see that XRP is actually designed to do exactly what it's supposed to, and people are taking advantage of that. It's incredibly quick and cheap to transact on XRP's ledger. So outside of Ethereum and outside of some of these other smart contract platforms, there isn't anything realistically that comes close to where XRP is at. I mean, obviously you can take a look at XLM. It's a carbon copy essentially with a few tweaks. You've got a few others in the space that are also doing very similar things, but essentially there is nothing that really comes anywhere near to the same kind of level as XRP. So that brings us on to the speculation that we've seen in the space as well. Is an XRP ETF coming too? Is this something that we're going to be seeing in the future? It's going to be interesting, right? As the only altcoin with clear security status in the US, the call for XRP ETFs increases amongst crypto enthusiasts. Is this something that we're going to see? Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. Could an ETF, a spot ETF on XRP, be something that could be a major catalyst for future price appreciation outside of what we've spoken about when it comes to the technical analysis of XRP? Ultimately, I think there's going to be some fantastic things to kind of consider here. And if an ETF, a spot ETF on XRP were to come, I think that is going to be a pretty significant surge in price action, as that demand would pretty much outpace the supply of XRP pretty significantly. Let's go ahead and move on a little bit though, because like everything else, when it comes to XRP, you're going to have, or comes to any other cryptocurrency really, you're going to really want to make sure that you have a good place to be buying it from. That brings us over to cryptocurrency exchanges. There are lots of different cryptocurrency exchanges out there. Some that you may be using right now that you're very familiar with, and other ones you just like, you've heard the name but you haven't really used it, and you don't really understand, why you might want to have access to more different, more cryptocurrency exchanges and all that kind of stuff. And well, it comes down to whether or not you're a veteran of this space or whether you're a newbie in this space. If you're a veteran, you will know just how difficult it is in a bull market to log on to some of these cryptocurrency platforms. Sometimes, that they get too much demand, you can't log on, you can't get on to basically liquidate your assets, right? You wanted to sell, but you can't because you can't log on in a timely fashion, and the price just drops on you. And the next thing you know, by the time you can log on, you've lost 20, 30% of the value of what you thought you were going to be able to get. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you have access to as many different cryptocurrency exchanges as you possibly can. Make sure you're familiar with how to onboard, how to offboard, how do you basically transact on the platform? How do you need to do KYC? Do you need to link bank accounts? You need to test in and outflows. You need to basically make sure you're very familiar, and you need to do this on as many of these cryptocurrency exchanges as you possibly can, whether that's Binance, Coinbase, KuCoin, Gate.io, Bybit, BitGet, you name it. There's a lot out there, right? Kraken and so forth. You want to make sure you test, sign up, test, and understand whether or not you are needing to do KYC, whether when you completed KYC, maybe you're in a restricted country, you cannot use it, and so forth, right? You're going to want to make sure that you have a good strategy about how you kind of transact on these platforms. Now, BitGet is my go-to platform. I use it for 100% of my leverage trades and 90 to 95% of my spot trades. I found this very intuitive and easy to use. If you haven't yet signed up to BitGet, the affiliate link is in the description down below. If you do use that link, then you are eligible for up to $8,000 of rewards, depending on how much you trade and deposit on the platform. Of course, you have to understand the risks associated with trading and all that kind of stuff. So make sure you are familiar and do some educational courses and all those kind of things to help you get more familiarized with the trading patterns and things, stuff like that. But ultimately, there's a lot more links in the description down below. BitGet is my go-to. It might not be everyone's taste, but for me, I find it very easy to use. There's also links for Binance, BitGet. We've got various different ones in the Discord server as well. So why not go ahead and check them out, get signed up, get yourself a good strategy in place, understand how to use the platforms, and set yourself up for success in the future. Because when XRP gets going, I think it's going to get at a very rapid rate, and sometimes you need to be very prepared for what is to unfold. Let's go ahead and actually talk about some success stories, because we have seen some pretty decent trades in our Discord server. We see here that there's some pretty interesting stuff over the last few days. The weekend yesterday has not been overly that impactful. We've seen a couple of trades on Matic, for example, long 20x 7.95%. We've seen some FTM stuff shorting 8.28%. We see Doge on a long at 25% profit and 20% on long for STG. But outside of these, is there anything else kind of going on? I mean, I probably wouldn't be looking to trade XRP right now personally myself. I think there's going to be better times for that. And as we kind of finish off today, I do think that we'll have better positions and better opportunities in the week to come, specifically for long, because I do think we have to see a significant bounce upwards once we finish this kind of smaller moves to the downside on the smaller time frames. But other than that, guys, I think that's going to wrap this video up. If you have found it useful and informative, smash that like button. Really do appreciate that. If you are new to the YouTube channel, why not go ahead and give us a subscribe there? And if you're watching this on Twitter, why not go ahead, give us a follow, and make sure you retweet as well to help really push this content out to more like-minded individuals. Guys, until the next one, have a fantastic day.